Simon Wayne and John Kent relegated to 6th place. But don't forget, this is the first time that we've seen Hodgetts in trouble in practice. So we wait for the red light here at Donington. There's the green, and away they go, and it's pretty well a level start, and that's Cavan. Cavan goes off having clouted Cole. A lot of damage there to Cavan's car. Cole also in the middle of the track. We could have a red flag situation, but it looks as if it's okay. I think they're going to get those cars out of the way as Hodgetts in the lead, and we're following on board now with Harvey. Harvey really is the man to watch here. Down a gear, that's 3rd, 4th, under the bridge. And let's go to replay in that start and you'll see what happened. Cavan there looking for the gap that wasn't there, and at the same time so was Steve Cole, and he took them both out of the race. A race which both of them desperately needed to score points in, and a race which I think might actually result in the championship going a different way to theirs. Well, Hodgetts has pulled out a little bit of a lead while we've been watching that replay, and there's another spinner in the shape of Steve Cole. Pieces dangling off the car. I think that was a bit of exuberance there, but you can see the damage on it, and I think he might very well decide that that's enough for the day. So through comes Harvey in 2nd place, Hodgetts in 1st place, and you can see the gap between them as we go on board camera once more. With Tim Harvey, 27 years old, had the misfortune to break both ankles pretty badly in a Formula Ford car early in his career, then came back to saloons, has dominated saloon car racing to a degree since, always been a front runner, then went back to sports cars, now in an open car, and tells me that he still has dreams of going back to single-seaters one day. Certainly a driver with a lot of talent, a lot of ability. A good all-rounder, as only the British seem to be able to produce really good all-rounders like that. John Kent in 3rd place. John Kent, a man to watch. Number 91, also a man to watch there. And that's James McAlpine. But there we see, stringing out the leading bunch. And watching carefully, the green helmet there, Dave Loudon. Refugee from Renault 5s and the like, and Hondas. Also in this championship now, and giving a very good account of himself. Murray's moving over. Had to. Up came John Kent. Snatched the place away. So Murray's down a place, but here is Harvey closing the gap. And Harvey is definitely closer, as you can see, to Hodgetts. A driver's eye view of a TVR from the rear as Hodgetts in the lead fights it out. 3rd gear, 4th gear. Down through the train of curves, and then it's just a little lift there. Power huddle again. Brake, down into 3rd. Touch the curb, out. Touch the curb, coming out. Under the bridge. Up a gear, 4th. Still in 4th. Here the curb again being touched. Over to the apex. Comes out, still in 3rd gear. Power hard on. Over the rumble strip there, up to 4th again, down to 3rd again, that quick. A little bit of opposite lock required. This is a long corner that goes on there, but on the straight. On the straight now, up to 4th. Now right up behind, take advantage of the slipstream. Look at the outside, and he's not reaching for 5th gear, and he's not getting through either. But that was more because I think, well aware of the situation, Hodgetts had the line. So now, having got up with him, Chris must be worrying about how he's going to keep Tim behind him. Gets a little wave there to the camera. And in turn, Tim will be trying to work out a strategy for getting through. Giggling a little bit in the background will be John Kent, knowing that while the two are fighting together, they'll be more inclined to hold each other up, because one driver will be driving defensively, and the other one can't take the optimum line either for the same reason. Murray's well up there, McAlpine well up there. On Sands, Dave Loudon. And up came some dust there. On go the brakes. On the leader. And here, Harvey is really giving it a lot of power coming out onto the straight. And will look to try for that inside. It's the inside that he wants. And Hodgetts doesn't intend to let him get it. Keeps the door closed. So Harvey's got to really find another way, another place, another time. Now this could be it. Tim has got to look at the outside, hope to come in tight and late and come out tight, and hope that Chris will come out wide enough to give him a chance. And that's exactly what happened, but not wide enough. Came out wide, but was able to get back on the line to go through the crater curves. Old hairpin. Hodget's going to make a mistake here, no way. They're absolutely nose and tail. Very, very similar cars. The only difference may well be on what tyres they have chosen. That I can't tell you. Harvey, into gear, third, fourth. Not giving an inch. Kent, an interested spectator. Murray's equally interested in fourth place. And coming down the straight, the master of keeping his line. They're side by side. And this time, Harvey decided to stay side by side, but in the end had to give way. Corrects an incipient slide there as the tail moved out. Up to fourth gear. Slightly muffed that change and lost himself a car's length or so, as we heard and saw. He'll soon make that up again. Watch those front wheels. He was anticipating that he put the power on, the tail was going to come out, and it did. And I think that those tyres on Tim's car are going off. I think that it's possible that we could have a problem, a tyre problem there. Hodget's definitely in charge. And more ground between him now and the Labatt's man. So Hodget's comes out. And John Kent almost as close now in third place as Harvey is. And Harvey there getting himself, oh dear, in such a mess. And he's off into the sand. Harvey, I think, left his braking a little bit too late there. I believe the tyres have gone off. That means John Kent's inherited second place. That means Chris Hodget's has a pretty secure lead out front. Let's see that again in replay from the outside. Actually, it looks as if he was in trouble coming into the corner. Got it sideways, he's got it locked up by there. Gets the brakes off at the last moment. But by that time, it's too late for the car to answer to the helm. And he's off into the boonies. Upper place comes Graham Nash. But this is the man now who's got it all in hand. Chris Hodget's with Kent behind him, and with Murray's in third place, and with McAlpine in fourth place, and in fifth place Simon Wayne must know that if he can keep where he is and keep control of this race, he is going to have a significant lead in this championship. So Chris Hodget's doing the job out front. Who else can do the job behind? Well, certainly Simon Wayne, much improved performance for him. Always been fairly close to the front, but right up there certainly this time. But this is it. This is the flag for a significant lead now in the championship to Chris Hodget's taking it now ahead of John Kent. Chris Murray's in third place. And I believe that that incident at the start could very well have settled the destiny of the championship in 1990. Just to recap then, Hodget's Kent, Murray's Wayne, McAlpine and Dave Loudon in a very good 6th place. Round 7 of the TVR Tuscans on the short circuit, the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch. And undoubtedly, this is the man that could surprise a lot of people. Jimmy McRae, rally driver turned racing driver.
Yes, loads of power, you know, and you've got to be very, very careful with the throttle because I think it would swap ends very, very easy.
That's probably the closest thing you can get to rallying on a tarmac track.
Well, that's good. You can get the tail out in 2 or 3 corners.
They've qualified well. How the hell do you do in the race, do you think?
I don't know. It's a very sharp race, and it's different when you're out there amongst traffic. You know, I would like to think we can get in the top 4 or 5, but I don't really know how competitive everybody else is.
Well, he's about to find out, and so is everybody else because he's carrying an in-car camera. But look at this front row. Chris Hodget's and Dave Loudon headed. And Chris Hodget's, a lot of people forget, started his career in clubman's cars, so driving open cars holds no problems for him. Dave Loudon, on the other hand, a compatriot from the same part of the country, well, he's had very few drives in anything else but saloons. But there are the times And you can see that Hodgett's well ahead there by around about a quarter of a second. Steve Cole at the bottom of the list, just about half a second behind. That's how close they are. On go the Reds. We're waiting for the greens to come on, and the best start by Loudon. But very soon Hodgett outpaces him. We're in car now with Jimmy McRae. And this is the terror of an awful lot of drivers. Paddock Fenn on the first lap at Brands Hatch. He's got a nice inside line. You can see that the TVR are a very tricky machine with a lot of power to control as we get a spinner there in the shape of number 5. Bob Sands, all very tight, all very close. Up has come McRae into second place. In the lead, it's Hodgett's. Last year's champion, Alum, is third. Then Steve Cole, number 3, is fourth. And that looks like Dave Loudon holding on to 5th place. Getting himself a bit wide there. Whoops. That's a strange line, Jeffrey. Steve Cole backed off, nearly got caught by Loudon as a result of that. Comes to the inside. Gets past Alum, who's not quite sure at the moment whether it's Monday or Saturday. He probably thinks it's Sunday afternoon. Colin Blower well up too. That battle really joined. Oh, there goes Cole. My goodness me, that was a big impact at the back of the car. Bob Sands about to join him. Oh, parking in echelon, except the ones on the tyres. Well, Steve Cole being extricated by the marshals. Dave Loudon under a lot of heavy pressure there. Simon Wayne is threatening Chris Marries. Out front, it's still, as we expected, the other Chris. Hodgett's the name. And whoops, that's Martin Krass doing a bit of Strauss there. Was joined for a moment or two by 91 James McAlpine, building into a great spin there, and just missed by the chairman, Peter Wheeler. Blower is third, Loudon is fourth. There's Jeff Allen trying to make up for lost time. Up the hill, all pretty tight together. And Jeff Allen tries the outside, not the place to do it. Martin Krass tries another spin, not the place to do that either. Really enjoying himself today. Must have been listening to Strauss on the radio. And this is the leader. And McRae closing in. We're in car with Jimmy McRae. Let's go for a whole lap of France with Jimmy and the TVR. Big V8 engine, loads of power. Down past the hospitality suites on your left into paddock, down a gear. Notice the line there, minimum correction. It's like throwing a cricket ball. You've committed yourself. You can make a few corrections, but that's about it. Now, this is a seat of the pants corner. You're not committed here. You can move about a little bit, but you've got to be careful with the power on the way out, otherwise the tail kicks out of line and you're offline for Graham Hill. Not straight this. You see it easy to the left all the time. And then on this clump circuit, this is about the most difficult place you can get into. You've got a left, get that wrong, and you've got the right, and you're all out of position for this, and this is the secret of getting this circuit right. There, Hodgett's, he teaches race driving, he knows what he's about. There is Colin Blower having his best run in TVRs for some considerable time. He was a TVR expert in the past, don't forget. And McRae is really getting on with it, but so is Loudon. Most impressive drive by Loudon, and a most impressive drive too by number 27, John Kent. Jeff Allen, meanwhile, is languishing down there. I think he's got a mechanical problem of some sort, as we watch Chris Marries there. But here, number 27, John Kent, going really well, being pressed for all he's worth by Marries. And there's Jimmy McRae once more. McRae is getting ever closer to the leader. Whether having caught him he can pass him, of course, is a totally different matter. But these two running away with it, and McRae taking the TVRs like a duck to water. That is a stationary Richard Cabin. Car was rebuilt after the big accident that we saw last time out, and it's not going quite as well as it was. They're very close together, those two, and here's McRae closing up too. And this, as far as the leader's concerned, is something that he won't want to see. Here's Wayne looking at the inside, locks it up there, touches, I think they touched, and Simon Wayne managed to avoid collision there with Chris Marries, collects it together, takes the place, and Marries is coming back at him, needless to say. They've just reversed positions, And I suppose it is do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. Alan, of course, has caught up as a result of that and can catch them both napping yet. At 19 there, going well, is McAlpine, Richard McAlpine, as we're back in car with McRae. McRae down that straight, past the start and finish. Brake changes down and the road goes away from you here, and this is why this corner is so difficult and why the runoff area is so important, because paddock has been the scene of many a tear shed, and a spot or two of something else too. Down the hill, Graham Hill bend. And McRae can't quite get onto terms, but for all that, he's driving beautifully, smoothly, you will see. A rally driver used to getting the tail sliding about, which of course helps when you've got a very powerful car, but smoothness is the essence of speed on a racetrack, and McRae proving that he can be very smooth as well. Pit signals out. There's the next battle, and still it's Colin Blower with Dave Loudon behind him, the familiar green helmet. Gained a bit of ground there, a rather an odd line into paddock, but it seemed to work. And up to Druids, the hairpin. Gains a bit, comes in quicker under braking. How does he come out? Well, just as quick too. So that was quite a meaningful move. But out through Graham Hill and along the straight there into Surtees, that seems to be where the advantage is to the more experienced TVR driver. Loudon touches the curb. Ooh! He loses it. Round it goes. Through 180, through 360. He's in gear. Gets it into gear, gets the clutch out quickly, it doesn't stall, but he loses the place out to John Kent there. And Kent now just ahead of him. And that was an unfortunate mistake on Loudon's part. But Loudon now has got to come back at Kent, see if he can get the place back. Quick through paddock, and the bonnet's just lifting slightly. You will see the bonnet is lifting. And that must be disconcerting if nothing else. It's the last lap. Here is the leader, number 15, Chris Hodgetts, in behind some traffic. That's going to give McRae a chance to close the gap. He does, but not sufficiently as he goes in and out of the traffic there. Martin Kras being caught and lapped on the line as we get a win once again for the man who's leading the championship. And a superb job too from Chris Hodgetts. Jimmy McRae in second place. Here's that battle. Loudon didn't make it back in front, so it's Hodgetts, McRae, Blower. Kent, Loudon and Wayne. That's the top six at Brands Hatch in the TVRs, and they really are exciting to watch. With 8 rounds of the TVR Tuscan Challenge completed, the big powerful sports cars faced an even bigger threat here in Birmingham, and existing competitors an even bigger one, with the inclusion of Ian Flux in the championship, taking the wheel of the 395 brake horsepower TVR for the first time.
They're great fun to drive, very entertaining for the crowd to watch, so I've just been told, and fairly heart-stopping for myself. As you just pointed out, I've just taken the bicycle clips off.
Birmingham is a problematical circuit because you can't afford to make a single mistake here.
So I've been told, Neville. I think you have a crash if you do.
I like TVRs because they're a proper British sports car, nice big engines, rear-wheel drive, full of character, brutal horsepower, very enjoyable to drive.
It's going very well. Everybody's sticking with it. The cars are going well. We obviously have a few incidents each one, so there's a panic between each race to get them going again, but it's going very well, yes. The series is going very well, is it?
Well, after practice, the grid looked like this, but unfortunately the marshals didn't see it quite that way when they brought them round, and in fact lined the cars up back to front. Chris Hodgetts more than anxious, however, to put his stamp on this race, an important one as far as he's concerned. And Jimmy McRae, well, he's carrying a camera on his car, and that should provide us with plenty of fun. Don't forget, he was in second place at Brands. But the man with the experience is Hodgetts. He shows it. He's away first. A clean start. Gap already opening up with the cars towards the back there, but it's Hodgetts into the lead. McRae slots into second place. And ooh, there's some pushing and shoving there as they come out. Up the long hill now. where power really counts, and torque as well. 360 foot-pound of torque from these Rover engines, the Group A block, prepared by TVR on this lightweight GRP body. McRae down again, looking for a way. And he looks as if he might have found one too. Feeds the power on, still holding on to that second place. A couple of three people run wide there. And we've got a spin up right in the middle of the pack, collected back together again. All's well that ends well, but it's still Hodgetts. McRae right behind him. McRae closing up on braking here. Down a gear. Whoops, and loses it. That looked to me as if somebody tapped him in the back, and I reckon it was Richard Cabin. Yes, Richard Cabin goes through there, and obviously hit McRae in the rear, who's struggling to restart the car. He sets away, and this is Jimmy McRae, feeling like Albert's mother, a trifle vexed, and there's Cabin's car with the damage to the front end, weaving about there. And Cabin, I think, is inevitably going to have to head for the pits. That I would suggest is his race run. And he has got a problem. Everybody's passing him, so Cabin out of the fray. Past him there went 27, John Kent. Let's see that again in replay. McRae, as you can see, closing the gap under braking. Quite the innocent party here. And up comes Cabin, trying the impossible. Hits the back of McRae's car. McRae fortunate not to hit the barrier, but Cabin unfortunately gets all the damage. Perhaps he deserved it, who knows. Everybody misses